works in the college of the Boyle College. And she is the director of internships and career services, and she's really good at helping you think about how to get internships. I think you're available for people to visit with you.
Yes.
And you have some staff, but anyway, she'll have a very interesting presentation, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, thank you
listen
very
well.
much.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. So I was asked to give a presentation on how to make the most out of your internship. So what I want to know from all of you, okay, how many of you have already had an internship in the past? Raise your hand. 2, 3, that's it, 4. Okay, how many of you have an internship lined up for the rest of summer? Okay, just about everybody else. All right, awesome. So those people who have already had internships, I might be calling on you to fill in the blanks a little bit as we go through some of our reflection pieces of my presentation. So what I want to do is try to help you make the most of this upcoming internship that you're going to be having. And I'm just going to let you guess. What do you think the first thing is you're going to do before you get to the job? What are you going to do? Come on, this is going to be participation. So in order not to drag this out, somebody better say something.
Get some appropriate clothes to wear.
Okay. A clothing would be good. Yep. Clothing would be good. Anybody else? Yeah.
Review the job description.
Read the job description. Excellent. You're going to do some research. So everything that you do with your career, whether that be looking for a job, trying to figure out what you're going to put in your resume, getting ready for an interview, or starting the job, you are actually going to be doing research about the company. You want to know, what is their mission? What are they trying to accomplish? And for you guys, what current threats do they have, or recent incidents that you want to know about? All right. So research is always at the basis of everything that you're going to do for the rest of your life. All right. You're always going to be researching things. Job description, you mentioned, whoever mentioned that, who is that? Yeah. Job description is the other thing. Hopefully you kept a copy of that job description that that was either available when you applied for the job or when they went to interview you. You have that job description. Pull that back out again, read through it. What are they going to be asking you to do? What are the responsibilities? What are the tools do they say that you're going to be using? Is there anything that you need to, refresh your skills on before you get there? So understanding what their expectations are and what you're going to be asked to do is going to be very important. This is all going to happen prior to actually starting the job on the first day. When you get to the job, you want to be inquisitive and be a good listener. And you might say, well, how do I do that? How do I listen well and be inquisitive? I can't do them both at the same time. Yeah, you can. So you are going to be a good listener because you're going to not be sitting there as someone's talking and thinking about, okay, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? How am I going to say this? What am I going to do? You're actually going to be listening, active listening to what they're saying, so you can formulate good questions, right? So smart questions. We're going to do that in a minute too. So something to keep in mind, you are not just an intern, right? Internships typically are companies hire interns as a way to convert those people to full-time employees. That's really the bottom line. That's what they're looking for. So you need to be prepared to be your very best self, to show them over this, let's say, 3-month period where you're interviewing basically for 3 months, that you are the right person for the job, right? That they made the right choice in hiring you for an intern, and you are the person that they should hire full-time. But on the other side of the coin, you're interviewing them as well during this time period, right? You are checking them out. Is this really someplace I want to work? Are they doing the kinds of things that I want to do? Do I fit with the team that I'm working with? Okay, so here's your first reflection. So on the job, okay, you're on the job. What are 3 questions? And I only want 1 right now, but what are 3 questions you want answered day 1 of the job? And I need someone to volunteer and answer. So those of you who have had, here's what I'm calling on the people who've had an internship. Think about 1 question that you wanted to know when you started that job.
What
what kind of experience can I start preparing myself with for this position?
Okay, what kind of things do I need to do to prepare myself for this position? All right. So part two of that is, so what are you going to do to help yourself find the answer to that? What do you think you're going to do?
Well, if you get an interview, then that would be one of the questions I would ask them.
Right? So how are you going to tell them, here's how I'm going to help myself be productive and help try to answer my questions? What would you say to them? How are you going to help yourself answer the question besides asking? What kinds of things can you do in advance? And we just went over some of them.
Sure, I understand.
Understand what I'm going to be doing, right? And if there was something that I didn't understand, go check it out. What is that? I've never heard of that tool before. I better go find out what that is, right? So that you can ask then an intelligent question and help yourself show them that you're very interested. Employers want to hire passionate, interested people, right? Not just give me a paycheck. That's the only reason I'm here, right? They want people who are passionate. So this is one of the ways that you can show them that you're passionate about the job. All right, the other thing that you need to do either before you get to the job, if you have a lot of good information, or at least the first couple of days on the job, is to set up your goals. What is it that you want to achieve in this internship? And I would recommend that you use the SMART goal formula in order to write your goals. So SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So specific, clearly define what your objectives are. What do you want to achieve in this particular goal? So we'll say maybe educational goals and professional goals. What do you want to achieve? Is it measurable? Can you measure your success of that goal? Right? Is it achievable? Is it realistic within the scope of your internship? So your goal might be, I want to be the president of this company someday, right? Well, that's probably not going to be achievable during your 3-month internship, right? So you need to make sure that whatever it is, it's achievable and it's aligned with your career choice, right? Then this is the part that a lot of people leave out or do a lazy job with, is that it has to be time bound. You have to set up a time where you're going to check yourself and say, did I meet that goal? I recommend that you not write your time or state that you're going to, at the end of my internship, I will blah, blah, blah. Most of the things that you're going to do, you better have achieved much earlier than at the end of your internship. So I recommend you do milestones. So for example, if you had said, and we can start, like, maybe pass me, or you can have this, pass these around. This is just a helper sheet with this information. Let's just say you wanted to meet or go for coffee and talk and get to know 2 people on your team every month for the 3 months of your internship. Okay. So what your milestone would be at the end of the first month, did you meet 2 people and go for coffee with those 2 people? If you didn't, maybe you only met 1 person because you've just been so busy, you have not had time to meet that second person, right? So you want to adjust your goal. Okay, maybe it wasn't realistic for me to say I could meet 2 people every month or go for coffee with 2 people every month. Only 1 person's going to be realistic, right? So you might want to change that goal, revise that goal, right? Or maybe you met 4 people. You had coffee with 4 people because you had the time to do that. So again, you might want to revise that goal. So I encourage you to use milestones as a way to manage the goals that you're going to set for yourself. So thinking about those of you who have had an internship and those of you that are going into your internship, tell me how you're going to make your goals, or let's just think of one goal that you want to accomplish right now, whether it be a personal, professional goal, or whether that be an educational goal. One thing that you would like to do, one goal that you would like to make a SMART goal. And let's talk about that. So who wants to tell me about a goal that they have? I'll just call on somebody, so you might as well volunteer. And there's goals. So on the back of this sheet, there's lots of different goals. Okay, there's the sheet will help you identify or write down what your goals are, but there's example SMART goals, both from just a generic sense and from a cybersecurity sense. So pick one of those if you want, but I need someone to identify a goal.
I can pick one, but I don't know if you want to let them on.
Okay, you had your hand kind of raised, okay.
I'm actually kind of curious, what's a contact database?
What's a what?
A contact database, it's on the back for documentation rules.
Well, so you know what a database is, right?
Well, yeah.
So-
Is it just,
So it's just a way of tracking information, right? Okay, so you could think of a contact database as your address book.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was just gonna put not on here, but like maybe some interesting goal might be like connect with 20 different employees in the company and learn something unique and new from each one of them.
Okay, so you want to connect with 20 different company or 20 different people at the company over a period of 3 months. You want to break that down into a per month or maybe a per week?
Yeah.
So how would you do that?
So there'd be like 12 weeks in 3 months. So if you do 2 people a week, then you'd be well ahead of your schedule.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. And so we were checking to see if it was specific. Yes. Was it measurable? Yes. Was it achievable? Probably. Was it relevant? Yes. And you set a time. So yes, so it fit all of the SMART goal functionality. All right. So this is something I want you to hang on to because when you get to that job this summer, I want you to try and create some goals. This will be very beneficial for you in the long run because as you'll see at the end, you're going to come back to these goals, okay, later on in my talk. Okay, so first week. First week is very important, right? First impressions, first week. So you've already met part of the team because you probably interviewed with the hiring manager and some of the people on the team, but maybe not all of them. So your goal that first week is to introduce yourself to everyone on your team and to start trying to build rapport with them. Now, I know a lot of you are probably introverts, all right? This might be a little bit difficult, but this is where maybe connecting with them and saying, hey, I'd like to learn more about who you are, what job you do, how you got here. Let's have coffee. Let's go get some coffee or whatnot. Or let me just sit down at your desk and if you have the time and let's just talk for a few seconds. You can prepare in advance the kinds of questions that you want to ask them so you don't have to be thinking on the spot. And they can be generic questions for all of them. But what you're trying to do is build that rapport with your team. You want them to learn about you and you want to learn about them. You want to be curious. So remember I said inquisitive earlier. You want to be curious about them, about the company, about the projects that the team is working on, the tools that they're using, especially if there's something that you've never been exposed to. So you want to be asking those questions. I highly recommend that you keep a journal. Okay. You keep track of the different things that you're working on. I would like it if you can take that journal home with you when you are done. So I would recommend that you probably not put things in it that are protected by an NDA if you were asked to sign that. But the whole goal of a journal is for you to remember the things that you did, the questions you asked, the people you met, what they've done, what they're responsible for, the projects you've worked on, the threats you've identified and solved. What are the things that you've done on a day-by-day basis? This is going to help you later on So next year, when you're applying for another job, or maybe it's a full-time role you're going for, and you're getting ready for that internship or that, that interview, and you're going, what did I do at that job last summer? I don't really remember everything I did. Well, it's all right, I'll just wing it. No, you don't want to do that. You want to look at your notebook, read through the things that you did last year to remind yourself of the things that you did, and so that you'll be prepared to give them an excellent story on all of the cool things you did at this internship this last summer. Okay? That's what's going to get you hired for the next job. And then, of course, you want to understand the security culture. How do they manage the risk? What are the priorities? So you want to find out the details about the company that you're working in, right? You want to really get a good picture, form a good picture of what this company is, and what you are going to be doing for the company, right? And so this is the first week strategy, but it's going to stretch beyond, right? It's going to keep going. You're going to keep doing these things throughout. All right, so what aspects of cybersecurity culture intrigue you the most? Somebody.
How quickly it's changing.
How quickly it's changing. And so that's a good conversation that you can have with your team. How quickly is it changing here? What's going on? You had a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, having heavy collaboration with the culture.
Yeah. How do you collaborate? Okay. Right. Okay. So think about these things. All right. So we're all going to be doing some mundane things. We're going to be doing day-to-day tasks, every day. Well, what is our goal within that whole, the big picture? You want to make sure you're able to manage your time. You don't want to be wasting time because they're paying you to do this stuff. So you want to be managing your time, and you want to be working on things that are going to add value to the company. Okay. You want to volunteer for side projects. All right. I've got a little bit of extra time here. I finished this daily task. I'd like to take on something new, or I'd like to job shadow one of my team members, or maybe a member in a different team. All right. I want to learn more about what the company is doing and maybe what our team is doing. You want to make sure that you're checking in, setting up time to check in with your supervisor or mentor, right? Because you want to make sure that you are on the right track. You're doing the things that they want you to do. And this is a great time if you're checking in on a weekly basis. It's a good time for you to ask the questions that you've got. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're doing those regular check-ins. We've already talked about documenting everything that you're doing. And then you do not want to be the fly on the wall, right? You want to be in a meeting, the one that's engaged, the person that is asking questions and showing your interest and talking about the projects you're working on, or talking about asking the questions that you have regarding your job, right? So you want to be engaged. And I know for a lot of you, that's a little bit difficult, but that is the goal. Be engaged. And then use whatever free time you might have to research new things. Okay, so our reflection question is, how can you add value while learning from routine tasks? Anybody want to take a stab at that one? Let's get somebody over here. You guys aren't saying much. A couple of you have had internships before. So tell me, how can you add value to the company when you're just doing routine tasks? Yeah.
There's something that you're doing really frequently, but there's not really like good directions on how to do it. You can maybe like make documentation for it for employees in the future.
Sorry, I have the radio inside. I don't know what you said.
I was saying like if there's something you're doing really frequently, but there's not really good directions on how to do it, you just
Make the documentation. Absolutely. Exactly. You just add a lot of value for the next person that's coming in. They've got this specific direction. So did you guys hear what she said?
Excellent.
Yeah, I think that is fantastic. So that is what I'm talking about by you can be adding value, right? So you just need to be thinking about what it is you're doing and how you can add value to them. How many of you have heard about the phrase, the hidden network. Or the hidden, jobs, we'll say it that way, the hidden jobs market. Okay, 80% of jobs happen because of networking, not because someone applied on a website. It's because of who you know and what you know, but mainly who you know, right? Because they've networked their way into a position. Supervisor says to their team, we need to hire someone to do this. And someone on the team goes, I know the perfect person. Here's Joe. Let's talk to Joe. And the supervisor says, great, get me Joe's resume, looks at it, says, yeah, let's talk to him. Let's bring him in for an interview. That job's not posted anywhere, right? You come in, you interview with them, talk to them about it, and everybody goes, this is great. Yes, you are the perfect match for my job. We're gonna hire you. That job's never been posted anywhere. 80% of jobs happen that way. That's a huge number of jobs when you think about it. So you want to build your professional network. That is your goal. When you're one of your goals that you should be working on for this job, for this internship. You're going to build your network, and you're going to build it by asking smart questions to the people that you're meeting. You're going to talk to people, not only the ones on your team, but those on other teams within the company. You're going to connect with them on LinkedIn, right? So you're going to connect and you're going to post about the things that you're doing. Of course, as I said, you're not going to do anything that's protected. We can talk about that. But you are going to talk about the generic things of what you're doing for the company. And you are going to join the company, Teams or Slack or Discord, whatever they have, whatever communication method they use. You're going to join those and other teams, other groups within those services, so that you can be a participant in the discussions and you can meet new people in those discussions. So LinkedIn has changed their algorithm now that they are only the recruiters that use LinkedIn to find people for their jobs. The algorithm tells them how often the people in LinkedIn are actually using LinkedIn. So they're talking, they're messaging people, they're posting, they're liking things, they're following groups. An AI won't do any of those things. An AI will just sit there. And so if you have an account and it's just sitting there, they're going to think you're just a machine. You're just an AI. You are not a real person. So you need to be actively using your LinkedIn account in order for a recruiter to see you. Plus, the more you network with people, the more your name is going to be coming up in those conversations. Okay. So your reflection is, so how can you maintain your professional relationships beyond the internship? Give me some ideas. Give me an idea, one idea.
Still staying in touch after your internship is over about like the company and about with like maybe personally with the employees.
Right.
So you're still in the loop.
Yes. So yes, and we just said LinkedIn, that's one way. But what about meeting up for lunch or coffee with somebody from the company that you met, right? Or maybe it's you didn't get a chance to meet all of the people on a different team that you wanted to meet before. How about if you give them a call and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes for me to do an informational interview with you? Just talk a little bit about what you do and how you got to this job. Right? Job shadowing, discussion boards, sharing things on LinkedIn. Those are all ways that you can continue to follow your network and build your network after the internship is over. All right, so now we've sort of progressed down to the end of the internship, right? And we're getting closer to the end. We've been keeping track of the things that we're doing in our journal. We've been talking about the problems that we've solved, the tools that we've used. I recommend that you reach out to your supervisor and ask them if you could do a presentation to your team about everything that you've done, about what you've accomplished over the course of the summer. And it could be that they go, well, we don't have time for that. Okay, that's fine. And maybe they'll say, oh, that's an awesome idea. We want to see everything that you've done. We want to hear about it. If they say, no, we don't want an actual presentation, you can still write your supervisor a final report. This is what I accomplished. This is what I learned. This is what I accomplished. These are the people I met while I was at this internship. This is the value that I added in my internship. Okay. I guarantee you that will make a huge impression on your supervisor. They're going to love the fact that you did that. They're going to want to see you more. They're going to want to hire you.
I have a question there.
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation for how long such a report might be? A good
How
idea?
long, how long the report is? Yeah, you don't want to write a book, obviously. I would say maybe 2 or 3 pages, depends on how much you actually did. And if you can show pictures, that's great too. You can add pictures to it if they would agree to that. I think that's fine. So 2 or 3 pages, so typed, would be good. And then of course, you're going to update your resume, right? And you're going to talk about all of the things that you accomplished at that internship. You're going to put that onto the resume, not just what you were assigned to do, but what you actually accomplished on the job, making sure that you are quantifying that information, right? Using action verbs, talking about what you accomplished, and then what the result was, the impact that that had on the company. Those are key pieces that you need to do for your resume for the next job. And you want to update your LinkedIn also as well. Okay. So your reflection here would be, how will you showcase your internship achievements?
Your resume, your LinkedIn, your final presentation that you could showcase, connecting with people outside to present yourself, talk about yourself.
Okay, yep, all of the above. Portfolio, some of you have maybe, you put things, if it's allowable, you can put things in your GitHub or a portfolio if you have it.
I was gonna say make a LinkedIn post about like how you finish your internship, and I know some, like you get like a certificate at the end, or they do like a graduation ceremony or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So post about those things in LinkedIn. Hey, I finished my internship at XYZ and they gave me this cool certificate. I've now been certified in whatever. All right. Those are great opportunities for you to network, to get your word, get your name out there, and for people like recruiters to see you. All right. Others like recruiters to see you. All right. So what are the next steps after the internship? Well, now you've talked to all of these people on the job, you've been doing some of the work, you've been learning about things. Are there other opportunities that you need to pursue to make yourself a better candidate the next time? So finding certification opportunities, or what classes, what additional classes do I need to take? Or maybe online classes do I need to take in order to learn the additional skills that I started to learn at the internship, but I need to refine? What are some of the industry activities that I should be engaged in? Is there a professional organization that I should be involved with and going to their meetings or to their social events so I can continue networking with these people? And then, of course, following up with your network, just connecting with your supervisor and the team that you worked with on a somewhat regular basis. Hey, how you guys doing? Did you ever get that XYZ problem solved? That type of thing. Or here, I found this article that you might be interested in that relates to whatever it is you were doing. Okay, so here's your reflection. How will you leverage this experience for your next career move?
I mean, you'll develop skills, which will be nice, but also if like this is an earlier internship, you'll probably be able to find out like, after working in the workspace, like this is something that I want to do with my career, or maybe this really isn't something I want to do, so I transition to a different aspect of the internship.
Exactly. Yeah, so as I said, you think of this as a 3-month interview, but it's not just them interviewing you, it's you interviewing them as well. Is this a job that I want to do? Is this a company I want to work for? Or did I learn about something that's really cool that they don't do all that much, but this other company does? And that's really what I'd like to do. Yes, absolutely. So it's not just about them, it's about you.
But another thing I would say is, a lot of times, when you learn something new, like when you work with an internship, if you don't keep using it, you lose it.
You lose
So,
yeah.
if you learn something you enjoy, keep practicing it so you don't lose it until you get the chance to use it again.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Use it or lose it. That is definitely the thing. Okay, and then also, so for those of you who have an internship coming up, we have a program in the college called the Propel program. So this is where you can get academic credit for your internship. So it counts as a technical elective in your major or a free elective if you're all computer science. So it'd be a free elective in your major. And so it does count toward your graduation requirements. You can work, by taking just a 2-credit class, you have considered a full-time enrolled student, regardless of when during the year you take it, summer, fall, spring, it doesn't matter. Just a 2-credit course maintains that full-time student status. This program allows you to stay enrolled and seen as a full-time student with just the 2-credit class for up to 12 months. All right, so you could be working full-time for a full year at your internship, making good money. All right, because I know all of you make great money on these internships. And then you can come back and finish your degree and you'll have lots of money to go ahead and pay off your loans and all of that, right? So anyway, this is a program that there is, while you're enrolled in the class, there are assignments you have to do, like you have to create a learning objectives report where you're doing your goals, like I talked about. You also have to do summary of what you did over the month. So this is where journaling comes in. We actually have you do some of that and turn in those assignments to us. So we mentor you throughout this. If you have problems or questions, we're here to help you with that during your internship. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to share, so I just got this information from Dr. Paul Redman, who is an expert in researching the various generations, Gen Z, Gen X, Millennial, all of that. And he is now focusing on Gen Alpha. And I listened to his webinar yesterday, and I thought this was very appropriate for your group, for what you guys are doing. So I'm going to go through this. This is his final thought, or my final thoughts for this slide, or for this class. So treat yourself, or think of yourself, like an actor. Okay, so I'm sure none of you are probably want to be actors or any of that, but think about an actor, what an actor has to do, and think about the fact that they have to be resilient, proactive, adaptable, and skilled at navigating uncertainty, right? And so your life is going to be, in your job, career path is going to be very similar to what an actor does. So think about this. Be versatile. So an actor, he plays lots of different roles, or she plays lots of different roles. They have to adapt to each role. What does that mean for you? Don't put yourself in a box, okay? Don't focus on just one set of skills or one skill or one identity, right? Stay flexible, right? So that's be versatile. Invest constantly in your skills. So an actor is always training. They're doing voice training, body training, emotions. They're always training. What does this mean for you? Keep learning and upskilling all the time to remain relevant. Embrace uncertainty. So actors do not have a steady job, right? They are constantly searching for the next role. They're always auditioning. So for you, that would mean accept that the future is unpredictable and learn to thrive in it. Okay? And you guys are in an area that can be very unpredictable. So learn how to thrive in that area. Gain maximum exposure. So for an actor, they have to build a portfolio, they have to get seen, and they have to attend auditions, right? For you, showcase your work. We just talked about that. Attend events. Be visible professionally. Get in front of everyone. When I said when you're in a meeting at your internship, don't be the fly on the wall, be engaged, be visible. Build and use your network. For an actor, success depends on who you know. We just had a long discussion on networking, right? So relationships are key to all opportunities, including yours. Be persistent. So an actor, rejection is constant. They're always being turned down, right? But a successful actor is persistent. For you, that means don't give up. So this means pick up the pace and don't take no for an answer, right? So you can be the same way. Be persistent. Toughen up. It's not personal. So an actor, they have to realize that casting for a role is not personal. They just didn't fit the theme of what they were looking for, right? So for you, rejections or setbacks don't reflect your worth, okay? Move forward, move on. It's not personal. Learn from it and move on. Know what you're worth. Right? An actor will fight for the amount of money that they think that they're worth. And you need to do the same thing. Negotiation is key. If you've got the skills that they're looking for, or more than the skills that they're looking for, you need to negotiate your way into that. Fight for it. You have to really understand what your value is to the company. Acquire a side hustle. So a lot of actors, they don't have continuous jobs from job to job to job. So they do other things in order to make, especially when they're just starting out, to make ends meet. So don't let other people limit your potential. Okay. Diversify your income and your skills. And then don't get typecast. So actors don't want to be involved in play the same role over and over and over again, because then they get typecast and they can't get other jobs. So don't let other people pigeonhole you either. Right? Be broad. All right. So I just wanted to leave you with that and answer any questions that you might have on anything that we've talked about, or any other kinds of things if we have time.
Yeah, we do have time. While you think for question, I have to tell you this. We have had CysER seminars or workshops. This is our 4th year now, and we never had Sandy come. I am so happy today that you were able to make it. And whatever we have had, something that comes close to this was not really to make the most out of your internships. And so when we, Sandy saw last year's project, that I can speak on this, and I started thinking about her even then. And so when you said you were available, I was so very happy, and we were looking at times, and she was very flexible on being available for today. So this was extremely helpful, and it's not a kind of topic we cover in any of the things that we do, and so it fits so appropriately. And some of the students here, as you saw from their hands, will be going, and I know they will be using it. So James and I are going to ask, can we put up the slides on the website? And so you will share that. But that was very helpful. And thank you for bringing those handouts as well. So now you can ask your questions.
Yep. Yes.
Do you strongly believe one way or another about a 1 or 2 page resume?
I do. I do have a strong preference, and that is 1 page. However, all right, there are people in their senior year or graduate students, let's say, who have jobs or who have done a lot of different things. Okay, they've just been very engaged, lots of clubs, lots of projects, lots of internships or other professional activities by the time they graduate from whatever. And they need 2 pages to fully do that. But this is why I think 1 page is better. You've got 6 to 10 seconds to impress someone with your resume. They're looking at it, scan, 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 scan. I either see what I want or I don't. Next, I've got thousands of resumes to look at, right? They're not gonna look at page 2. They're gonna look at page 1. And if they see something that interests them, then they'll say, okay, I'm gonna look more deeply at this one. It's gonna go over here and I'll look more at that later, but it has to get to that stage. So that's why I say 1 page. If you do 2 pages, make sure all the best stuff is on the front page. Okay.
Other questions? I know it has been a long day. We were at ACL today.
I saw your schedule. I know.
And
It's a long
so,
day. Yeah,
yeah.
you had a question?
Yeah, where is Boiler College Career Services? I actually don't know where it is.
Where's what?
The career services.
Oh, it's in
Oh.
Dana 140. Dana Hall.
Yeah.
First floor, Dana.
And the
Yes.
job fair, the career fair also happens, and that's also another good thing to do, in addition to having to consult
Yeah,
and going
so-
there, but whenever they happen in the spring semester, or is it both semesters?
Right, so our office, our career services office actually co-sponsors the fall.
Yeah.
Career fair.
Yeah.
And technical. So, and I'm sorry that so many construction companies come. We try every year to not invite them for a while. We try to invite everybody else first because they are so hungry for people that actually what they do is they just live on the website. And every day they're looking, they know about when we open, and so they're always looking, and no matter what, it's a big joke, it's like, we got 20% of the companies are construction management. We want everybody else, anyway, but, yeah, so we do co-sponsor that, if you're interested. What other questions, anything? Yeah, you have one?
What is one thing you can do to stand out during an interview?
During an interview, all right, so skills-based interviewing is what companies are really focusing on. So they're gonna be asking you a variety of questions about your skills, whether that be technical skills or your soft or transferable skills, your power skills. So you want to have excellent stories about the skills that you have and how you've used them. So you want to focus on maybe using a method like the STAR method. Have you heard of the STAR method? Okay, STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. That's how you want to formulate your answer. Tell them the situation, what task was assigned as it relates to the question, the action you took, and then the result. All right, and if the result wasn't exactly, the way you wanted it to go, what would be your follow-up next time this happened? Okay, so focusing on your accomplishments, and your skills, that's what's gonna help you stand out. And being able to concisely talk about your skills and abilities. No rambling. Who else? Anybody else have a question?
Last question, so we can start. We can clap one more time. Thank you, Sandy. All right, we're done for the day.